like not much else. Get our favorite plays on the totals, sides, props, exotics, and futures to jump on now. So let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Subject custom quiere consultar consultarino. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and
Hello there, Twitter world or X world and eventually YouTube world. This is Wanna Bet. Yes, it is exactly what the world needs in this moment. Kind of a game show, although really we're all in it just to make money for you. Myself, Jason Canfora, my buddy Ben Hall, and a rotating sort of cast of friends starting today with Katie Mox. We're going to give you our best bets of the day. We're going to do it in an interesting, I think, format. We're going to rank our bets: first down, second down, third down, our best plays of the day, third down being the one we feel strongest about. That's the money down. Fourth and long, as you can see on the screen, we'll talk about a long shot bet. Some days it might be a prop. Some days it might be a future. Today, it's an NFL future. Would we back it or wouldn't we back it? We've got some props to go along with that. And overtime, our dog of the day, we'll be looking at the NBA there and whether or not you'd back the Pacers tonight on the money line. But I wanted to thank my friends, Ben and Katie. Guys, say hi to the people.
How you guys doing? Very excited to be doing this with Jason, and very much thank you to Katie for joining us. We've been working on this, and we're very excited. Like Jason said, we're having fun, but we're also trying to make people money with plays and giving good reasoning there.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm so excited to be the inaugural guest. And by the way, what a vibe that song was.
Yeah.
As we were coming up here, I was like moving and grooving to it. So super excited to be a part of this. And obviously JLC, you and I work together so much on Primetime Pregame. So happy to give the hosting over to you today.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so Katie and I work on a lot of CBS platforms, HQ, Sportsline, a lot of bets that we make there, some behind a paywall, others we talk about on air. And these are our strongest plays of the day. And yes, we're bringing ska back, and that is the jam of the summer. The Wanna Bet theme song. Try getting it out of your head. Let's get it started.
First of all, for a metal guy, though, I'm surprised that you.
I love everything.
I
love everything.
Okay.
I was originally trying to like steal the dating game theme, and then I'm like, well, let me make it more fast paced. And then I'm like, well, what if we ska it up? AI is a dangerous thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our theme song for now. We'll see where that goes. But look, the people are here to try to make some money. We want to make the people some money. Katie Mox, you have the honor of making the first Wanna Bet ever. What is your first down play tonight, Katie Mox?
Okay, so just so I'm correct here, the first down play is the play that we feel like good about, but then we keep going with the downs, and like your third down is like, this is my like lock of the
money
day.
down.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. All right. So my first down, I'm going with Jalen Brunson over 2.5 made threes. You can find this at plus money. Here's the thing with Brunson, right? They call him Captain Crunch for a reason. The guy has hit 33 threes in the postseason so far. It's already tied for the third most postseason Knicks player in a playoff run. And he's just averaging at this number, right? Just under 3 per game. The reason why I think he can get it this way is he's been absolutely, guys, lights out in these late game scenarios. We saw it with the Celtics. Again, Captain Crunch. He absolutely thrives on volume, especially when these games stay really close and get tight in that fourth quarter. And I think that this series is going to be really close. And I think that this game one is going to be really close. And we talk about someone who's a fourth quarter monster. I mean, Brunson, 66 points in the fourth quarter during that Detroit series, 63 versus Indiana last year. And let's talk about that. I mean, there is some narrative on the line here, right? This revenge game for Brunson because they were eliminated by the Pacers last year in that game 7 at Madison Square Garden. So you got to think he's carrying a lot on his shoulders in this one. When we talk about the Pacers, we talk about how fast their pace is, right? It really plays into their names. They are offensive oriented, this team. They play a very fast pace, and that just creates more possessions, create more shot opportunities for really both teams. He's hit this number in both of the matchups versus Indiana this year. I expect him to carry that rhythm over. So give me Brunson over 2.5. Give me Captain Crunch at a little plus money.
Yeah, I love it. You mentioned the fourth quarter. We know he's going to get his shots off. And even if it's a blowout, Tibbs plays his starters. And even
Yeah.
if they're down 25, that wasn't enough. But 22, 23 wasn't enough against the Celtics. So I love Brunson. And if you go run his game logs at home the last 2 years in the playoffs, he's getting 30 pretty much all the time. All right, Ben, what you got?
Yeah, I like Brunson as well. I'll also get to Brunson more in our my third down play.
Ooh.
But my first play, TJ McConnell over 9.5 points and assists at -110. He's over in 6 of 10 playoff matchups. He's over in 2 of 3 matchups with the Knicks this year. He cleared this with just his points in 5 of 7 games last year against the Knicks. You hear a lot of Knicks fans talk about how frustrated they are with him. And he's a guy that you're not going to get a ton of minutes, right? He's probably going to play 15 to 20 minutes, which is always a scare with a guy. But when you look at him, he compares to a Peyton Pritchard, a dude who just went off against him in that series. And I wouldn't be surprised if Halliburton comes out and has some struggles, and that kind of forces McConnell to take over a little bit more when he's on the court. Last year in game 1 in New York, Halliburton went for just 8 points and was kind of ghosting. And you see that with Halliburton this year. Some games he comes out and can do what he does, but there's also times where he goes shy, and McConnell's a veteran. He's played in the league a while. So I like McConnell to go over 9.5 points and rebounds at -110.
Yeah, and so many of his shots are high percentage shots too, and he does that little thing where, like Wayne Gretzky used to loop around the goal. I like when McConnell loops around the basket and then makes like a 2-foot shot. Cool beans. Well, look, we talk everything here, and there will be a lot of NBA talk on this game because, that's what's dominating the sports landscape right now. But I've got a baseball play for first down here. Ben and I had a lot of fun fading Patrick Corbin pretty much religiously last year whenever he pitched for the Nats. My new Patrick Corbin is Trevor Williams, and I'm going with the Braves on the run line here, laying the half run in the first 5. Like, Williams is terrible. Williams in the first 5 innings has an ERA of 5.52. He's going against Smith Sawyer today for the Braves. He's got an ERA of 2.41 in the first 5 inning of games. That's top 30 in Major League Baseball. Overall, Williams' last 4 starts, 6.86 ERA, 26 hits allowed. 21 innings pitched. I don't even know he's going to go the 5 here. And if he doesn't, we're talking about a terrible bullpen with the Nats. And he faced Atlanta last time out. 4 1/3, 5 hits, 3 earned, 4 total runs. They don't play great defense behind him. I know the Braves lost last night, a little bit of a tough hitting night, but their bats have come alive since April as the weather's warmed up a little bit. And I think this game, frankly, could be lopsided after 5.
I'm not a baseball girly, so I'm just gonna I like it. I mean, I know about Patrick Corbin. Last year, I had you on the show multiple times, and that was a favorite of yours. So if there is a new Patrick Corbin, I'm hopping on board.
Yeah, Nats pitching overachieves, except for when Williams is on the mound. All right, Ben, second down, you're up.
All right, yeah, sticking with baseball, I'm going to go with Fernando Tatis over 1.5 total bases at -120. Anytime you get the name guys, it's going to be a little public, but at -120, these are decent odds. He's 8 for 17 against Gaussman this year with 2 home runs. Righties are hitting a little bit better against Gaussman, reverse splits guy, 236 compared to 216 against lefties. He's given up 6 home runs at home where they're playing today compared to just 1 on the road. At Rogers Center, in his career, Tatis is 4 for 13 with 2 extra base hits in just 3 games. He's got a hit in 4 of his last 5 and 11 of his last 12. We know how aggressive he is. If he has a single a little bit in the gap, he will try to extend it to 2. So we could get it with 1 swing. He's hitting atop the lineup, so you're probably going to get 5 at bats, and he's not afraid to swing it. We know what he can do and all the damage he does. Against right-handed pitching this year, 336, 383, 634 slash line compared to 205, 345, and 318 against lefties. The 2 top guys in Toronto's bullpen are right-handed pitchers, so if it does come down to that and we don't have the total bases cash there, he'll face another righty. I like Tatis to go over 1.5 total bases.
I like that as well, Ben. I am going to go to the NBA with my second down pick here. I like the Pacers to win this series plus 125. Now, look, if you want to take the game and a half with them, I got no problem with that as well. Katie said it, long series, and I agree. And we've seen, okay, it didn't hold last night, but in these playoffs, a lot of the home favorites early in these series have struggled. Their shots haven't fallen. They've played tight. They've blown leads. They haven't been as good from behind 3. And I do think the Pacers steal one of these 2 early games, which, again, probably portend a longer series. I'm really drilling down on this fact, guys. To this point in the playoffs, the Pacers are 8-2. Not too shabby. We can quibble about who they played, but not the Cavs. New York starters have played 459 minutes in the playoffs so far. Indiana's have played 319. And this is going to be a series. And Ben pointed out people like McConnell on that second unit for Indiana who like to run around, who play with that same pace. That's going to be tough for Tibbs' second unit in so much as there is one. We're talking about a Pacers team that has a superpower. It's offense. And the Knicks are good defensively, but they're not OKC good. I mean, the Pacers are averaging 118 a game. I think they're going to get their points here. Pacers are number one in assist-to-turnover ratio in the playoffs so far. Number one in effective field goal percentage, something I put a lot of stock in when I handicap games. Number one in true shooting percentage. The Knicks are not scoring nearly to that capacity. Now, I get it. They face Boston. We can argue that, but look at the last 6 meetings between these teams. They've been high scoring, and the Pacers have more than held their own, and I feel like the pressure's on the Knicks now to finally break through and, get to the finals for the first time in 30 years. It's going to be a series, and I think in the end, Indiana's going to win the series.
JLC, you're forgetting to mention that the Knicks are a team of destiny this
Maybe.
year, okay? They go through the defending champs. Everybody thought they were going to be swept in that series. Nobody thought that they were going to come out and win this. And what did they do? They won almost all of those games. You talk about Captain Crunch. I have a feeling that this is the year that, and look, I know that's not like a scientific, I don't have my handicapper thought on, but sometimes you just got to go on vibes. This is a team. And have you guys spent time in New York City? This is a town that loves basketball and that loves their Knicks. And I'm actually worried about the city because if the Knicks go to the finals, there might not be a New York City for us to fly into. I love the Knicks. Give it to me.
All right. I like a good debate. We're going to find out in about 12 days.
Yeah. True. Am I up next?
You are.
Okay, so we did our first down. We just ran the ball, getting some yardage, getting our thing. Now we got to be a little bit more strategic. So for my second down, I'm going with Benedict Mathurin over 10.5 points. I think this is kind of a sneaky spot in the Pacers rotation. Like we said, this is a high tempo team. It's a very unselfish offense. And he's been one of the better beneficiaries from their bench. He already scored 16 and 11 points in the first 2 matchups versus the Knicks in the regular season. And I think that this is a matchup that's really going to favor guys that can score in transition and that can attack those closeouts. So I really like him in this spot. New York, obviously, they're going to be on the big guys, right? They're going to be on Halliburton. They're going to be on Siakam. So I do think he has a favorable assignment here. And if it gets up and down like we expect and like we just talked about, JLC, I do think that he's going to find his spot. So I feel pretty confident in my second down here to take Benedict Mathurin over 10.5 points. And I will say, I know he dipped in points in the last series, but he was also, ejected from a game. And so there's that.
Yeah, things were getting a little personal there. There was, and again, I think this series probably will eventually get there, but I don't think they come in with some of the hostility that we saw in both teams' matchups, frankly, in the previous round. Okay, third down. As you might have guessed, I am pretty bullish on the Pacers, and I really like them tonight. Again, give me the 4.5. I think the Knicks will be a little tight. I think the Knicks certainly coming off that, the last series, they had to battle a little more. They don't have the same sort of fresh legs that the Pacers have. They're not as deep as the Pacers. And they're 3-4 against the spread their last 7 at home. I just feel like Indiana has a chip on its shoulder. Indiana loves being the underdog. Indiana's covered 8 of their last 11 games. They've covered 7 of those 8 by multiple possessions. I'm talking covered by 4 points or more. They've covered 6 of their last 7 on the road. They've covered 8 of their last 10 on the road. I said it before, averaging 118 a game. I think this starts as a high scoring series. We'll see if that evolves over time. But you look, these teams last 12 meetings, they've averaged 237. I think Indiana's got a little deeper reservoir of potential scorers to tap into than the Knicks. And I think the Knicks, all that star power, it can get to you. Spike Lee, everybody else, there's a reason why
Chalamet, Kylie Jenner,
right? Spider-Man, whoever else. I don't know. Are all the superheroes? Superman, I guess Batman's Gotham City.
Hey, they defeated Superman and Jason Tatum, although he got injured.
That's true.
Respect. Yeah,
that's true. They did. But I'm taking the points with the Pacers tonight. And I'll tell you a little later whether they're live for me or not on the money line.
I'm not mad at taking the points. I think this is going to be a close game, 4.5. I think the line is right on the money here. I like the Knicks to win this game. I, of course, like them to win the series, but I'm with you on the 4.5.
Yeah, I got kind of mixed feelings. I think I lean the Knicks, but if this game goes down to the wire and ends up in a final possession game, I could see them covering. We'll get to it a little bit more in the dog of the day, but I'm not buying the Pacers too much.
All right, Ben, you got a third down play?
Yeah, Jalen Brunson over 28.5 points.
Double Brunson.
Averaging 29.3 points per game at home in the playoffs. We heard Katie talk about how good he's been shooting, how good he's been late in the games. He enjoys playing in front of this crowd, and we just talked about kind of how exciting they are. He was over this in game one of both the Celtics and Pistons series, and he averaged 33.3 points per game at home against the Pacers in the Eastern Conference semifinal last year. Katie talked about it earlier. Brunson still remembers that series, and he actually talked about it yesterday early, and you can tell like it means something to him. And he definitely thought about what he was going to say before he said it because he didn't want to ruffle too many feathers. But he's going to get to the free throw line a ton. The Pacers fans they get furious about it. You see him talk about it, but Donovan Mitchell did it, got to the free throw line a bunch, and Donovan Mitchell went over this in all but one game, and that was with him struggling from beyond the arc. Jalen Brunson, I think, will knock down the clean looks. He's a great shooter, as Katie mentioned, and 28.5, coming off of a series that even with them winning, Brunson didn't show up a ton scoring, right? And I think he could, but wasn't forcing things. Boston, we know how good they are defensively. And the Pacers are definitely stepped up a notch defensively this season compared to last year, but they're not what Boston is. I think Jalen Brunson goes over the 28.5 points.
I love it, Ben. Yeah. Cosign. Let's go. Captain Crunch.
He gets his 30 tonight. I'm with you guys. Yeah. All right. 4th and long. This is going to be where we look at
Katie's got
I got a third down.
Oh, my bad.
I got a third down.
I don't even
you don't want me to score. You don't want me to score a touchdown here. I'm at third and goal right now, and you're just all right.
I got confused, and I invented this problem.
I'm going to go with Cat, with Karl Anthony Towns, over 10.5 boards tonight, or as they like to call him in New York, Bodega Cat. Look, he's averaging over this number at 11.3 boards per game in the postseason. He's already recorded 8 double-doubles. He's tied for the 13th most in a Knicks playoff run, and he's dominated the Pacers in the regular season, including a 12-board game back in February. Indiana, for as great as they are, this is one of the worst rebounding teams left in the playoffs so far. You look at guys like Miles Turner and Siakam, they both average under 7 boards per game. And the Pacers, as we've said, they like to push the pace. This is a very high-paced offense, and so that's going to have a recipe for a lot of rebounding volume. And we know that, the Pacers aren't going to necessarily clean up along the glass. So I love Cat in this one. Also, when we think about that last game versus the Celtics, he did grab 12 boards there. So give me Bodega Cat to clean up on the glass tonight, 10-plus boards.
If there's one thing that scares me about my Pacers to win the series pick, it is the boards. And you look at the regular season matchup. The Knicks had three players average 10 or more rebounds a game against those Pacers, headlined by Cat, who averaged over 12. If you don't think the Pacers are winning this series and you're looking for an MVP look and you don't want to go chalky with Brunson, I think Cat's the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he might average 30 and 10 over 6 games, 7 games, however this series goes. And while Brunson will have the sexy shots at the end, and maybe that carries the day, I have sprinkled a little bit at 13-1 on Cat to be the Eastern Conference MVP.
I'm with it.
All right, now it is time for 4th and long. I'm sorry I jumped the gun because, we've got props for these next 2 things on the rundown here.
This is the
and
fun
who
part.
doesn't love props? Okay, so 4th and downs where we're going to look at something in the market that's going to pay off longer value. Sometimes it might be a future like it is today. Sometimes it might be even a daily prop or something that, is going to cash soon. We've got 2 options because 4th and long, right? If you're going to go for it, then it's this guy. It's Dan Campbell.
He lives by it. He dies by it.
Yeah, he's looking a little zen there, but we know, so if we're going for it, we're going to hold up Dan Campbell. We know what he's all about. Then Ben and I were trying to figure out, okay, so what's the opposite of Dan Campbell? And so he's like, well, what about Adam Gase, who coached he was scared he was going to be fired every 30 seconds and was a perpetual punter. And then it did give us a chance to just start looking at images of Adam Gase from his press conference with the Jets.
Oh my goodness.
And so this will be, if you are punting on this future, then you will be Adam Gasing it.
Okay.
And this one, look, we picked one that I liked because, it's the first show and I figured why not? Packers to win the NFC North plus 275. Katie, we're back to you. You can go first. I'll go last. What do you think of this potential payoff? Would you pass or punt on putting a few bucks on the Pack to win the division?
Well, first of all, it feels slightly sacrilegious to say I'm going to go for it
Yes.
and use Dan
In
Campbell.
the division. Yes.
Yeah,
In the division.
right.
I would also argue this could go both ways. Either he looks very zen or he went for it and it didn't turn out well for him, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh
Yeah.
man. So I'm gonna use that one for Dan Campbell, but I'm gonna say you're gonna go for it. Look, I think the NFC North is pretty wide open. I do like this value with Green Bay at plus 275. Jordan Love, you got to think he's going to continue to take steps in the right direction there. Josh Jacobs in the backfield, they do have like a very deep receiving core. I do think that this offense can explode at times. There was some issues last season, but I think it's with health really. But I think they're going to be great there. Defensively, they got a new coordinator, which is great. Who I think will really help them attack in the trenches. And when you look at Detroit, they were pretty good last year, but they lost both of their coordinators. Chicago and Minnesota, they either have rookie quarterbacks or they've got brand new systems. So it seems like the most reliable team in the division has to be the Packers. So sorry, Dan, but I'm saying yes.
How about you, Ben?
I'm right there with you. Losing both coordinators, I think they're going to take a massive step back. And Green Bay is going to have to win in the division. You have to be better. They went 0-4 against the Lions and Vikings last year. They also played Sam Darnold when he was playing MVP like football. J.J. McCarthy early on, he's got Jettas, but I don't really buy them. And then Detroit, if you can split with Detroit, I think you have a good shot. Jordan Love, I'm very high on. I thought they could win the division last year, and unfortunately fell off a little bit, like I said, in the division, especially down the stretch. But both offensive and defensive DVOA, they were top 10. This is a defense who's bringing back a lot of things. They're taking a chance on Isaiah Simmons. Maybe they can be the team to figure out what's going on with him. The wide receiver room only got better. And for a while, it was just like not a lot of number one, just a bunch of different guys that they do a bunch of different things, have a lot of versatility. But then they go out in the first round and draft Golden, who I think will be a wide receiver number one. They got Jordan Love, the guy. The offensive line is fine. I trust them enough. And like you said, Katie, with losing both coordinators, Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, and also you lose assistant coaches as well. Randall L. is now the assistant head coach and wide receivers coach following Ben Johnson to Chicago. And then Terrell Williams, defensive line coach, is now the DC in New England. They weren't losing these assistants because they were bad. They get upgrades. I think they're going to be in a little bit of trouble, Detroit. So I do like Green Bay to win the division.
You know, I already kind of told you where I'm going with this. I wish I had multiple Dan Campbells. I am on this. I am on Green Bay to win the NFC. I've sprinkled a little bit on a Ravens-Packers Super Bowl matchup. I was probably a year ahead on the Packers because I was big on them last year as well. But that's still an incredibly young team, right? That already has the experience of winning on the road in the playoffs, and they should have beat San Francisco. Sorry, Katie. They
Coulda, shoulda, woulda, JLC, but they didn't.
Like, shoulda. And then the week after that, the Lions should have. But again, I'm not gonna relitigate the past. This is a quality roster. I think Jordan Love was hurt more in that game in Brazil than we ever knew. His footwork, his planting, the back foot never looked right to me all year. I think what happened was Malik Willis got in there and they started running the ball down people's throats. And Jordan Love was like, "Hey, I just got this contract. This is my football team." So I can't imagine that stuff happening again. And it's not just that the Lions lost Ben Johnson. Like, you think Johnny Morton is going to have the same rapport with Jared Goff that Ben Johnson did? I mean, Ben Johnson rebuilt Jared Goff. Remember, he was a salary dump. And now that infrastructure's gone, and people have had another year to study their personnel. Like, I thought the Lions would go make a money move for another pass rusher. It didn't happen. You know, Ben Johnson in Chicago, a year from now, sell me on that. This dude's got to learn to be comfortable in his own skin. He's got to learn to be a leader of men. He's got his hands full with Caleb Williams. I mean, for me, the Packers have the best coach in the division, or at least as good. I mean, Campbell's good, but we know that Campbell gets in his own, he steps in his own doo-doo in the fourth quarter in a lot of these games. But I think they have an argument to make. They have the best coach. They have a legitimate home field advantage. To me, they have the best quarterback. I like the way the schedule sets up for them, and I see a lot of value here. So I'm with you guys. All right, we're going to wrap it up in overtime. We're going to have a rotating sort of cast of segments that we do here and one of them is going to be dog of the day. And we're going to give you a potential play for an underdog, and then we're going to say how far we would get behind it. So I've got 3 dogs in my house. This is Copper. He's the little pug mix.
Copper.
If I'm going to sprinkle on something, then we're going to go Copper.
Okay.
Our middle guy is Meatball, our Beagle Hound mix. He's our
Meatball.
newest rescue. So if I'm making a standard play on something, that's a Meatball.
Okay.
And then she doesn't look that big here, but she's a husky mix, and she's big. Gigi is our biggest dog. If I'm going more than a unit on something in dog of the day, then we're going full Gigi.
I love it.
Beltway Ben, our first dog of the day is going to be the Pacers on the money line tonight. And I've obviously made the case for the Pacers here. And Pacers money line for me tonight, I would go Meatball. I would make a
Really?
1 unit play on this tonight. And this is their opportunity to steal a game. This is their opportunity to catch a team while they are a little tight, while the lights are super bright. And I think their depth is going to be a factor in this series. One thing we haven't talked about is, what if any Knicks starter gets into foul trouble? How big of a deal could that be? And knowing Tibbs, he probably sticks with him. And then is he out somebody the final 6-7 minutes of the game because he didn't manage that bench the way it did? I think the Pacers have been undersold. I think the Pacers can beat you at their pace, and they can beat you at your pace. I think the Pacers are the team of destiny, and I think they win game 1 tonight in a manner where a lot of home favorites have kind of peed down their leg a little bit in the first couple of games at home. Okay, who's up? Ben, what do you say?
We'll go Ben.
I would have loved to use the dogs, but I'm going to go without Gase there.
Full Gase. You're
What does
punting.
that mean? What kind of a
He's
dog
punting.
is out of Gase?
It's definitely
I've got a
some
punt.
sort of mix.
I'm not buying the Pacers tonight. And Jason's been red hot in the NBA. Was on the Pacers a bunch last series when nobody else was, and we know how that resulted. But I think the rebounding is going to be the difference. You talked about it earlier. The Knicks have grabbed 30.8% of their missed shot attempts. They're getting a ton of second looks. Josh Hart is just always around the basketball, no matter where it goes. And one big thing to watch for in this series, Mitchell Robinson, who turned it on against Boston, right? He gets the standing ovation at the free throw line, like something happened to him or something. He just couldn't make a free throw, but he's given them really good minutes. Madison Square Garden is a different beast. I don't buy them winning tonight. Wouldn't surprise me if they took one maybe the next game, but this is the first time that they've played here since 2000 in the Eastern Conference Final. I cannot get behind. I just think with everything that they do on the glass, and then you have an Indiana team who's allowed 16.2 second chance points per game in the postseason. That's the most among teams remaining. I'm going to go with the Knicks tonight. I'm not buying the Pacers here.
All right, so I'm going to go now. And I have a dog, Edie Marie. And so I printed out little things. So if it's a big dog play, I'm doing this one. Like, she's feeling feisty, right?
Yeah, she's ready to go.
Like, she's like, oh,
Take me
hell
on a
yeah,
walk.
we're in this. Yeah, so this is the big dog. This is just like the demure, like, okay, yeah, this is a good dog play we're going to do. And then this one, she's just kind of peeking her head out, you know, she's not entirely, this is the one where it's like, okay, maybe it's worth a little sprinkle, but we're not exactly sure.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do on this one. We already know that I love the Knicks, right? I've been talking about this the whole time. Pacers 0-5 all time in game 1s on the road in conference finals. They've also lost 4 of their last 5 game 1s overall. The Knicks have won 4 straight game 1s, 3-0 all time at home in the conference finals. You got to factor in Madison Square Garden, the energy, Jalen Brunson. They have 5 possession win games this postseason. So I think that the edge is clearly with New York, but could I peek my head out just a little bit, on a sprinkle here? Yeah, I can, because if you look at this Pacers team, 2 20-point comeback wins, right? In elimination games, they've got 6 players that are averaging double figures. If they get out hot and early, it could be hard for the Knicks. So that's why I think I'll peek my head out a little bit here, but go Knicks.
Love it. Love it. Well, this has been fun peeking our head out with this new show. We hope to start doing it on a daily basis pretty regularly. I know some people have vacation coming up. We really thank Katie Mox of CBS for being our first guest. Hey, look, we could envision a time where maybe some people out there who are viewers come in and they're the third person. We have, pretty open-ended. I think it's a fun concept. And yeah, we're going to keep score. Ben and I will be tracking the guest and how these plays went out. And ultimately, we hope the winner of the game show is you guys. And some of these bets match with what you're thinking. And we all make a little bit of money. So that's it. Thank you for tuning in to the first edition of Want to Bet. Ben and I will be back tomorrow afternoon with another special guest. And we look forward to helping everybody cash. Till tomorrow.
Thanks, everybody.